We're about 3 minutes away. We need to have all the chairs. Right in the middle.
You have to be good, you said. Oh yeah, I'll be back in.
Hello. Welcome everyone. My name is Alan Stout. I'm president of Fohs Hall Incorporated. And I want to thank all of those who are here live in person and those who are watching a live stream of this announcement. Our appreciation to Chris Evans and the Crittenden Press for arranging for the live stream today on Facebook and YouTube. And so we welcome our friends of Fohs Hall who are watching. We believe there may be supporters watching from as far away as Portland, Oregon, and New York City, and possibly Philadelphia as well, along with other places around the country. So we appreciate that. And let me first of all say, with all the problems we've experienced in Marion with our water situation, which hopefully we're making a lot of progress on, but the type problems we've dealt with the last few months, it has been a real challenge, but it's good to celebrate something positive here in Marion, and that's what we're here to do about. So I would like to recognize people who are here. State Representative Jim Gooch, good to have you here. We also have our Economic Development Director, Amanda Davenport, here. Amanda, thank you for being here. I would like to acknowledge our Fohs Hall Board, Bonnie Hatfield, who's Vice President, Terry Shoecraft, Secretary. And speaking of Secretary, we lost our Secretary this summer, Phyllis Sykes, who had been Secretary. She was in office and we lost her, and we miss her. And it's interesting to note that the previous Secretary of Fohs Hall, Linda Schumann, we lost Linda while she was serving as Secretary as well. But Terry Shoecraft has stepped up and is serving as Secretary, and we appreciate that. Mary Ann Campbell, our treasurer, is here. Elliot West, who's in charge of our bookings. Brennan Cruz, who's in charge of our building and grounds. And our other board members are Natalie Parrish and Janet Pierce. And we acknowledge also Fred Stubblefield, who is the CAF representative on the board. And we have a number of the Fohs Hall volunteers who help us maintaining and operating the building. I want to acknowledge our Jones, Mickey Alexander, and now Grant Rogers, Arnerick Messina, our investment advisors in Portland, the Song family, who are the heirs and descendants of Julius Fohs, the Fohs Foundation, and finally the Crittenden County Fiscal Court, as well as the Ben E. Clement Mineral Museum, who will be represented here today by Fred Stubblefield. Fred wears a lot of hats. And also Crittenden County Tomorrow Inc., who's here represented by its president, Stuart Collins. I'd like to also express our appreciation to the Frazier Law Office, Bart Frazier and his staff, for helping with the legal documents in anticipation of this closing. And Jonathan James is here today, attorney who assisted in the closing of the documents. So what we're here today about is looking out the window across Walker Street. That's what we're here today about. These two properties, the Hayes property, which is the red brick building to the left, and the Hayward property, which is the larger building to the right. These are what this project is all about and what we're calling the Hayward project. I'm pleased to announce that Fohs Hall Inc. Acquired title to the properties today from Rick Carter and Brian and Evelyn Hayes. And so we appreciate working with them on this as well. The Hayes property was purchased for $20,000. The Ben E. Clement Mineral Museum assisted with the purchase of that by contributing $10,000 to the purchase. So Fohs Hall was matched by the Mineral Museum for $10,000 for a $20,000 purchase price there. The Mineral Museum and Fohs Hall have agreed to jointly own the property, with the museum utilizing the red brick structure for much needed storage, which the Mineral Museum needs. It is experiencing very strong growth and having additional contributions to their collections, and so they need that for storage. Fohs Hall needs the property for ingress and egress, as well as parking going forward. The Hayward property, which was purchased from Rick Carter for $35,000, and the funding for that purchase was matched by Crittenden County Tomorrow Inc., which you'll hear from them shortly. The goal is to develop this property for very limited parking but also green space for a park, a small playground, eventually an outdoor pavilion or amphitheater for outdoor performances. And that property has an interesting history to it. The Hayward property was built in 1906 by the Hayward family, and it was their residence, and at the time when it was constructed, it was one of the most prestigious and elaborate residences in the county. Ultimately, it became a high school, and then it became a hospital until the new Crittenden County, I say new, the Crittenden County Hospital was built in the late 70s, I believe. So it has an interesting history. I spoke this week with Stan Runyon. Some of you may remember Stan. Stan is a Crittenden County native who is an architect now based out of Philadelphia. He's retired, and I made Stan aware of this project that they were working on, and he was very supportive of it. But when I mentioned the Hayward house to him, he mentioned the fact that his father, Edward Runyon, which Edward was a board member of Fohs Hall years ago, he mentioned the fact that his father, Edward Runyon, taught school there when it was a high school. And after it was a high school, it was a hospital. And Stan pointed out to me that he was born in the very same room that his father taught in at that building. And now, talking to Patty Gilbert here today, she told me that both her and her husband Barry were born in that.
My father also went to school there too.
Okay.
I was born there too.
Okay. Susan Yarborough's here, and she was born there as well. So the property has a lot of historic significance to it. However, the building is just simply beyond repair. So this project, development of these two properties is what we're here today about. I've put the project into 3 phases. The first phase is acquisition, and that is what we've accomplished here today. We've acquired those properties. The second phase is demolition, and the building on the Hayward property must be demolished. It is simply beyond recovery. And Fohs Hall is obtaining a minimum of 3 bids from 3 different contractors to raise the building, remove the material, and level the lot. It is contemplated that demolition will occur in early 2023. And so that moves us on to the next phase of the project. And phase 3 would be development. And that is the goal is to develop the property into a park area with green space, walking areas, a small playground. The thought of the playground is whenever people are attending functions at Fohs Hall, if the kids get rowdy and they want to play, they can take them out to a small playground to play. And ultimately, the vision would be to have an outdoor pavilion or amphitheater located there for outdoor performances. There's been people who said it would be an ideal location or venue for a wedding, and then coming across the street to Fohs Hall for the reception. Really, the development of the property, the potential is limitless. To survey, design, and engineer initially the project, Fohs Hall has retained the services of Frank Williams, who's an engineer out of Madisonville, Kentucky, with Ronald Johnson and Associates. And he has been here and visited the property. We will be soliciting input from the public. We'll be soliciting input from Crittenden County Tomorrow Inc., which we'll be hearing from. We'll be soliciting input from several different sources as to development of the property. So the next question is, well, how do you pay for the project? Well, the initial funding of the project, Fohs Hall Inc. has committed $60,000 to it. The Mineral Museum, as indicated, has committed $10,000, and Crittenden County Tomorrow Inc. has pledged $50,000 initially to get this project started. This brings a total to $120,000, which will be sufficient to cover the acquisition and demolition phases. Going forward, we will look at grant opportunities. One specific grant we are about to submit our application on is a grant application under the Nonprofit Assistance Fund. This is a grant portal through the Commonwealth of Kentucky that's designed to help nonprofits that were negatively impacted by COVID. And it is based purely on net revenues, comparing 2020 net revenue when COVID was here to 2021 when we started recovering from it. And that grant application, we're in the process of finalizing it now, will be in the range of $40,000 to $50,000. The deadline for that application is October 1st. I think we have a very good shot at receiving that. The interesting thing about that grant is it's not tied in any way to a match. It is purely driven by your revenues of 2020 compared to 2021. In 2023, I anticipate that Fohs Hall will apply for a grant through the Land and Water Conservation Fund through the Kentucky Department of Local Government. This is a matching grant program, and the thought is that we will use this initial funding as a match source for the grant. That grant application we anticipate will be May 31st of 2023, so we will be working on getting that grant together. Obviously, as this project develops, we will look at opportunities for other community support when plans are finalized. And simply put, we don't have final plans at this time. We're just getting started. This project is in the very initial phases of it, but sometimes we just have to go out on a leap of faith. And so what we're talking about here is vision. When I speak of vision, there's various biblical references to vision and those who have vision, and if you don't have vision, you'll perish. We have vision. Just like Julius Fohs had vision in 1926 when he built this building and donated it to the citizens of Marion. And in 4 years, we will celebrate the 100th anniversary of Fohs Hall. And some of you remember my Aunt Ethel Tucker, who died 3 years ago, and she was 101 when she passed away. But she was the last surviving person who actually attended the dedication of Fohs Hall in October of 1926. The goal is to have whatever we have over there completed by the 100th anniversary of Fohs Hall. In 1982, some local leaders had vision when they formed Fohs Hall Incorporated and accepted a deed from the Crittenden County Board of Education. And since 1982, Fohs Hall Inc. has owned and maintained the property. In the 1980s, Fohs Hall had a vision to apply for a series of historic preservation grants, which we received, and those grants provided for the basis for the restoration of the building. 10 years ago, Frances Son, who is a daughter of Julius Fohs, had vision when she left a sizable gift to Fohs Hall. And some of those funds are what Fohs Hall is using today for the initial project. Several years ago, Linda Schumann had a vision when she created Crittenden County Tomorrow, Inc. And we will hear from Stuart about that in a minute. Last year, the Fohs Hall Board had vision when it embarked on a performing arts campaign to upgrade and install a new sound and light system in the building. And we were very pleased with the outcome of that. Our goal was to raise $50,000, and we ended up raising $65,000. And some of you have attended events that utilizes the new sound and light system as we attempt to make Fohs Hall more of a performing arts venue for performing artists, and we have some good shows lined up the remainder of the year and into next year. So now we have a vision for a new development. We don't know what the final end result's going to look like, but we will carry on the vision of Julius Fohs and Frances Son and Linda Schumann and all the other previous Fohs Hall board members and supporters and benefactors for the benefit of the citizens of this community for years to come. It's part of our vision that Fohs Hall, the Benny Clement Mineral Museum, the park, and the Crittenden County Historical Museum will become part of a cultural arts corridor for people who come to Marion and will be able to visit our museums, attend events, and have an outlet for the arts and culture in the community. And so with that being said, like I say, it's all about vision. And with that being said, I would like to introduce Fred Stubblefield, who will speak briefly on behalf of the Mineral Museum, the Benny Clement Mineral Museum, and their vision.
Thank you, Ellen. I hadn't really planned on saying too much today, so we'll make this real short. But Ellen hit on exactly, because I had no idea what I was going to talk to you guys about, nothing. But Ellen hit on exact key vision. And this is vision and timing came into for the Mineral Museum. We were in an era over at the museum that we needed to expand. We needed to do other things, but we couldn't because every crook and cranny that we've got left over there is full of something that we're trying to store somewhere. So then Alan and these guys presented this to us. We've worked real well with the Fohs Hall in here for several years because, you know, we have our mineral show over here every year right now. We're planning on continuing doing that for many years to come. So this worked out great. The timing was great. We got the building at where we could all work with it. Something these guys needed was the parking and everything, and we definitely need the storage. And if you guys have been over there, we are changing things. We're trying to make the Mineral Museum better each and every day that we come over. We try to present something new, show you something. If you've been there a few years ago, you come back, say, wow, you know, where did this come from? Why did this happen? And that's what we're trying to do. This will give us an opportunity to do some of that. Because I feel like the one thing about the Mineral Museum, it's got a lot of history, and it tells a lot of things that went on in this community, what got a lot of things going up until the early 50s and everything, and the possibility of coming back. But look at all the other, go past here, look at all the minerals, look at all the beautiful things that you go in there and see. We're walking on it, it's all around us. It makes our lives so much better, so much different. Most of us don't know anything about that until you get in there in that museum and get to looking around. So it's benefit. We have people come from absolutely around the world. From around the world. And we have people from every state in the United States coming in here. I'll never forget one little night we had the night digs, and I happened to be the one going out on the digs that night. And there's this young lady came up to me and she handed me this little stone. She said, that came from the Franklin mines up in New Jersey. Of course, that's where we got some of our Franklin pieces over there as well from New Jersey because that's the best fluorescence, you know, in the world. She came over here and she said, we going down that dig, I want to go with you guys. I said, yeah, that's great. You know, we're talking and everything. We got back out there and we was going around. And she said, you know, I came here to spend my vacation. She said, I came to New Jersey and Marion, Kentucky to spend my vacation to look for these minerals. I said, where are you from? She said, East Germany. Now you think about this, somebody flying from the other side of the world to come to a museum here in Marion, Kentucky. What Alan is saying, we got all kinds of room to grow here. And what you're going to see out here, I think is going to be great. So I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of this come on and happen and everything. But remember too, guys, it does take money to operate all of them. And we have a great gift shop over there. Christmas is coming up, don't forget. Okay? Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, Fred. At this time, I'd like to recognize Stuart Collins on behalf of Crittenden County Tomorrow, Inc.
And let me recognize a couple of our board members who are here. Roger Simpson and Patty Gilbert serve on the Crittenden County Tomorrow board. First of all, I think it's both exciting and ironic that Crittenden County Tomorrow has been able to play such a huge role in this project so far, and by giving a matching $50,000 grant to Fohs Hall for the development of the Hayward property. It's ironic because Crittenden County Tomorrow was established, at least in part, with the hopes of saving and repurposing that building. And when those plans didn't work out, the group sold the property and pivoted their efforts in various directions, including the support of a counseling center that served the community here for several years. Linda Schumann was the founding force behind Crittenden County Tomorrow and was an imposing presence in the community at fiscal court and city councils and tourism meetings.
Fohs Hall board meeting.
Fohs Hall board meetings. Linda had an uncanny ability to look at situations from a point of view that might not be otherwise considered. And she was never afraid to challenge those in authority to look at those ideas. She was a champion of accountability. And in fact, some of you who are here today were undoubtedly on the receiving end of some of those suggestions, I imagine. So it would be remiss of me to stand here in front of you and not issue a challenge to all of us who live and work and serve here to continue to look for potentially different and better ways of doing things. And instead of brushing aside ideas that are not our own, to evaluate every point of view for its usefulness, to look at things for the long term, and to consider every resource available to us. Upon Linda's untimely death, Crittenden County Tomorrow found itself in receipt of what seems to be the largest monetary bequest of an organization for the support of this community at around $1.2 million. And for us to be able to help expand Fohs Hall, and which was maybe the largest real estate gift to the community, is both an honor for us and a tribute to Linda. And so Alan, Crittenden County Tomorrow looks forward to seeing the progress on the project and hopes to further help bring it to fruition. Thank you all.
Let me just say one thing as far as what Stuart has touched on. Linda's impact on the community with the Crittenden County Tomorrow Inc. is going to be felt for many years to come, no doubt. And just like that entity, Fohs Hall is very committed to transparency. Our meetings are open, our records are open. Anyone is welcome at any time to visit our meetings. We are, I believe very strongly that any nonprofit entity which relies on contributions, donations, and support from the public and other nonprofit entities should be committed to transparency, and we are. Let me touch on some upcoming events at Fohs Hall. Terry Mike Jeffrey will be here September 17th with his tribute to Elvis Presley and Neil Diamond, and it does include a section of the show of Elvis that's gospel music. October 7th, we have a gospel gathering, which always draws well. November 5th, the Old Kentucky Hayride will return, which always draws well. I'm very excited that December 11th, which is a Sunday at 3 o'clock, the Paducah Symphony will be here for a presentation in Fohs Hall. It'll be the first time the Symphony's been here since the mid-90s. And over into 2023, we have an up-and-coming country music act, J.D. Shelburne, who is a country singer, songwriter, and recording artist, who will be here January 21st, 2023. So our goal is to have Fohs Hall being utilized for what Julius Fohs' original vision was, that it be used as a civic center and community auditorium. And just for the record, that is Julius Fohs, the portrait behind me here. And this is his daughter Frances Sohn, who left the Frances Sohn gift to Fohs Hall. So it's our goal to carry out the vision that they left us with, and the commitment to the citizens of Marion to continue developing this civic center and community auditorium. And I believe a very substantial next step is development of the property across the street. So with that, I would thank everyone for being here. I'm open for any questions or comments.
Oh, one more comment. September 24th, Right here, CAF is gonna be having on an event all around Fohs Hall and inside of Fohs Hall. Since they didn't have the pumpkin festival this year, we incorporated part of that. We had to change a whole lot of our stuff at last minute. But I think it's gonna be a very interesting, event all day long, 24th.
All right, September 24th. Any other questions or comments? Once again, thank you all for being here, and we will keep you posted on the progress. We will look forward to input on development of this property. If any of you have any thoughts on it, I know Crittenden County Tomorrow Inc., we certainly want to have their input on it. And any of you who have thoughts, we will certainly try to consider those and incorporate them to the best we can. Thank you all very much.